Hello and welcome to a new episode of Off the Bench with RGT. We're heading into the final international break before March, and I feel like it's the perfect time to take a quick look at how some of the Premier League's biggest teams have fared so far in the season. There have also been some surprise packages. Sunderland, for example, have had a brilliant start to the season, so I will be breaking down what I feel has worked for them so far. So let's dive right in. There is no other team I'd like to start this video with. The more and more I see them, honestly, this season, it makes me question Arne Slot's ability more and more. It makes me think that maybe City's aging squad last year and Arsenal's lack of depth really helped Liverpool win the league last year. But let me talk to you about what I feel has gone wrong for them so far this season. First up, I honestly don't think any of their signings have settled so far, apart from Hugo Ekitike. And this is what happens when you get rid of Premier League proven players and try to replace them with players from outside of the league. Liverpool's biggest problem for me, honestly, has been their defense. And I think anyone from the outside could see this during the summer window as well. Yet they chose to prioritize signing 5-6 odd strikers, attackers, instead of prioritizing their centre-backs properly. They definitely needed at least two quality centre-backs because I think Van Dijk is aging and Konate did not cut it in the previous seasons and he does not cut it now either. So they should have prioritized at least two quality centre-backs. And we can see their defence struggling this season majorly as well. Van Dijk and Konate hate it when a ball is played over the top and they have to chase back. Frimpong and Kerkez, none of them have settled either. They play more like wingers than fullbacks, and that is a big problem for Liverpool. And teams have exploited that, be it the Crystal Palaces, be it the Uniteds, whoever, right? Everyone has exploited this weakness in the Liverpool lineup and made the most of it. And what's strange is their best player this season so far has been Dominic Szoboszlai, and Arne Slot trying to play him as an inverted right back for at least the first 5-6 games of the season. Because Frimpong was just not working or he was injured, he didn't trust Conor Bradley initially. It's just ridiculous, right? Because Szoboszlai is most effective in that number 10 position, but obviously he wanted to play Florian Wirtz there, and therefore he tried playing Szoboszlai as an inverted right back, and that didn't work very well either. And because of their greed in the summer of buying many attackers, they now have a big problem of trying to fit in all of these big name, big moneyed attackers in the starting lineup. And I have to talk to you about Florian Wirtz. I knew it from the beginning that he would definitely suffer in the Premier League. It is very different from the Bundesliga. It is more physical. It is much faster. So a technical player like him will definitely struggle. He really needs to adapt if he wants to succeed at the Premier League because it's a completely different world out here. And his stats show that, right? Bought for 100+ million but doesn't have a single goal involvement in the Premier League so far. If Graham Souness was seeing this and seeing these stats for Paul Pogba, he would probably destroy him by now. He would probably have people outside his house by now. But that's what it is, right? That's the media agenda against Man United, and it's always been like that. All in all, I feel like Arne Slot really needs to fix this. He needs to think hard whether he needs to change the formation slightly after this international break or just play his trusted players, right? If he has to bench big name attackers, he might as well do that, but go back to basics and try and get a good run going. I really hope they don't as a United fan, but he needs to fix things, otherwise I fear for him. Is it finally Arsenal's year? Many will believe so, but the real answer will only reveal itself come March and April next year. Every football fan has heard this so many times before, right? And we're probably sick and tired of hearing it that this is Arsenal's year. But the reason I actually feel it might be their year is because the strength and depth of their squad this year, which they did not really have in previous years. Last year when the likes of Martin Odegaard and Saka were injured, they had kids to replace them, right? They were playing Waneri in the right wing, who was in his first Premier League season. And they were playing Mikel Merino up top. But this year at least they have, like-for-like replacements, or if not better, at least for Odegaard, right, in Eberechi Eze, who I think is quality, who in my opinion I actually think is better than Odegaard. And they have Madueke who can come in and do a decent job when Saka is out as well. So their strength in quality in terms of the squad this year is so much better than last year, which is why I feel they might really have good shot at winning the league, but it's Arsenal at the end of the day. Another thing that's really going in favour of Arsenal this year and has been building actually from previous years is their strength in defence. I think Arteta has built something pretty good there, pretty solid there with Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori and Timber. I think Timber and Gabriel's game has just gone up another notch this year. They are just unbreakable in most matches. Timber, I think, has won the maximum number of duels or tackled the maximum number of times in the Premier League so far as well. And Gabriel is just Gabriel, right? He's a beast in both boxes. And it's a great weapon to have. When you have a strong defense, you're not going to concede many goals. And that gives you a chance to go and score and win the game, which is what they've done for majority of this season so far. Their biggest test, honestly, will be their mentality come March and April if they can continue this form up until then. I honestly think this is their best shot of winning the league in 20 odd years. And if they don't win it this year, there should be serious question marks about Arteta's ability. Manchester City spent 200 odd million in the January transfer window of this year. They spent another 200 million before the Club World Cup in the summer. But guess what? It's still the Erling Haaland show. That guy is just a beast. He's back to his lethal self. He's got his 23-24 form back. And he's just a beast, man. Like, that guy just doesn't stop. And I feel like if they are to win it this year, it's going to be the Haaland show all over again. And the reason I say that is because none of the new signings have actually had that much of an impact so far. I mean, yes, you can say that Ryan Cherky is probably the closest, but that also he's been off and on, right? He was injured for quite a bit of the first half of the season and he's come back, got a few assists. And the biggest problem is the Pep Rule, right? He's not going to start every game. I don't think Tijani Reinders has had as much of an impact as people expected him to have. I do think Mamouche is quality, but he's not going to get enough of game time anyway to prove himself consistently. They probably need Phil Foden back to his best. He's showing signs lately, and if he can be back to his best, I think that'll be the biggest support to Haaland and City's chances this year. But my biggest worry for them is that odd game when, against a low block. We saw it against Aston Villa, very compact and solid defensive unit. They just couldn't break them down, right? That's when you need a player like Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne could find that pass, find that cutting pass, or just take a brilliant free kick or a brilliant shot from range and score. And that's what you kind of need against compact low blocks at times, right? And there will be a lot of such games like an Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest and Everton. It will be difficult to break these teams down. So if they can kind of solve for that, I can see City going up against Arsenal right till the end. Okay, let's talk about Chelsea now. I honestly feel like they've had a mixed start to the season so far, and the reason I say mixed start is because they've beaten some good teams like Liverpool and Spurs, but they've also lost to teams like Brighton and Sunderland at home. And if your home form is up and down, then it's not going to get you much through the season. In my opinion, Chelsea's squad lack two things. One, I don't think they have any leaders. Yes, Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, you could argue. But I mean, they give Caicedo the armband at times as well. But I feel like Caicedo and Enzo are still quite young to add that proper leadership mentality within the squad. Reece James being the only one left, in my opinion. And the second thing is, I don't think they have world-class players up top or in defense. But their midfield is absolutely packed with quality, right? You talk about Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, who I think is probably one of the best CDMs in the league or even in the world right now, arguably. They've got young blood in Santos and Romeo Lavia. If Romeo Lavia is kept fit, he can be a quality player in that position for them. But I don't think their defense and attack is world class yet, right? I mean, defense, they're stacked as well in numbers. You have Chalobah, Tosin, Jorel Hato and many others, right? But I don't think any of them are world class yet, and you kind of need that for sure because you need to get clean sheets to continuously win games, in my opinion. And the similar story up top, they did go out in the summer and buy quite a few attackers, just like they do in every other window. They bought Estevao, they bought Garnacho, they bought Gittins, they bought João Pedro, they bought Delap. That's like 5 odd players already. But are any of them world class yet? I don't think so. I think João Pedro is probably the closest and their best attacking purchase this summer. Estevao has a lot of potential, but I think he's still kind of adapting to the league, so he might take a couple of more months or even a year or so. I don't think Garnacho, Gittins or Delap are world class either. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of fare for the rest of the season. Okay, let's talk about Manchester United now. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that we'd be sitting 7th after 11 games, having played the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Spurs, Chelsea and Brighton, I would have snapped your hand off. Yes, we are nowhere near the finished product. I completely agree with that. But are we improving? Yes, for sure we are. And that's what you kind of get when you give a quality manager time on the training pitch and some quality signings to complement that as well. And I feel like Ruben Amorim's kind of got that. And we're seeing the perks of playing one game a week under him. This is why you need to invest in a project, honestly. He's gone from being the worst manager in the Premier League to wow, he's finally improving Man United by sticking to his system. And you have to give credit to Ineos for the signings in the last 2 odd years, especially the signings this year of Cunha and Mbumo. They cannot be underappreciated. They deserve all the credits and they are absolutely quality signings. Not just in attack, but also in defense and in the overall structure of the team. They will work those hard yards and always put their body on the line, whether it's defending or attacking. So you have to give them credit for hitting the ground running. And I can't not talk about Matthijs de Ligt and Senne Lammens. Honestly, if teams like Juventus and Bayern Munich went after de Ligt, you understand why now. And you also understand why the Bayern Munich fans actually signed a petition to not let him go last summer. Because the guy is world class, man. Like, we can finally see it. Last year was his first year. There was a change of manager. He had some injuries as well. But I feel like this year he's come into his own. And we can see it week in, week out, whether it's in the defensive box or it's in the attacking box. The guy is a complete defender and he's really coming of age now. It's just funny to see how Ronald Koeman still doesn't rate him. I mean, good for United fans that he's dropped from them more than half the time. But honestly, I think he's probably the best Dutch defender currently in the world. And the goalkeeper position has been a big worry for United over the last couple of years. And this debate continued into the summer window. And you know what? I feel like getting Emi Martinez would have been the favourable choice, at least amongst the fans initially. But you know, he would have been another limelight signing, I feel. He would have had a lot of pressure. But in this position, after what United's gone through in the last few years, we probably needed a little bit of a calm head, a small name coming in and just doing the basics right. And that's exactly what Senne Lammens has done, right? He's done the basics right and he's done the basics very well. And he's just oozed calmness and confidence in that line of defense. And bringing that stability in the goalkeeper position has actually transmitted to the defense and the midfield and the attack as well, because you could see the rest of the team was shaky when Onana was in goal and even when Bayern was in goal for the first few games of this season. So it'll be interesting to see where United get at by the end of Christmas and beginning of New Year, but things are looking positive on the up and you just need to trust Amorim and give him more time to build on this. Last but not the least, I can't not talk about Sunderland after the start they've had. You know, the biggest problem with promoted teams when they come up is that they don't recruit smartly. They might go out and buy a whole new team altogether, but that does not mean that they buy the right players. But that's exactly what Sunderland have done excellently, right? They bought quality in depth. They bought Premier League proven players as well. They bought Granit Xhaka, who I think is one of the signings of the summer so far. They bought Simon Adingra, who's also played in the Premier League again for Brighton, which always adds, that experience. You don't really need time to settle into a new country, a new league. And they bought good quality players from other teams as well. You see the likes of Nordi Mukiele, who's played for the likes of PSG. They've got Ronaldo, who's played for Atletico Madrid. So buying in quality when you're coming up to the Premier League is so important, and I think Sunderland have done that superbly, which is why I 100% back them to stay in the league and even finish in the top half of the table. And for Regis Lebris to give the captain's armband to Granit Xhaka was such a shrewd piece of management. He kind of knew that, to stay up in the league, you need proper leadership. But and after signing Xhaka, I think there's no better leader than him in that squad. So to give it to him was such a good decision. You can see it week in, week out, right? He's the driving force behind the heart and passion Sunderland play with. And then to complement that, you have other leaders in the squad who've been there, seen that for Sunderland, the likes of Isidore, Dan Ballard, right? What a beast of a player he is. So when you have that and you merge that with the experience of the likes of Xhaka and Mukiele, you are building a solid squad. So that wraps up a quick review of how some of the Premier League teams have fared so far in the season. Some teams have impressed, some have surprised, and others still have work to do. It's been an exciting start, and if this is any indication, the battles at the top and the surprises down below are just getting started. Make sure to stick around for more such videos as the season unfolds, as things are going to get more interesting. But before that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and spread the love.